When you think of someone slipping, tripping, or falling, an older person usually comes to mind. Chances are you probably know someone who has lost his or her balance and has experienced a serious fall. But the truth is that such accidents don't just happen to the elderly. In the workplace, slipping, tripping, and falling is one of the leading causes of injuries. According to OSHA, slip, trip, and fall accidents account for the majority of workplace injuries and are a major cause of accidental deaths, second only to motor vehicle accidents. Slip, trip, and fall accidents occur frequently because situations that can lead to such accidents are all around us. A box left in a hallway can be an unseen trip hazard, especially in darker areas. Wet concrete or other wet surfaces can be very slippery. Reaching just a little bit more from a ladder can spell disaster. Most slip, trip, and fall accidents can be prevented simply by following safety rules and safe work procedures. In this video, we will examine types of falls, causes, prevention, fall protection, walking on wet surfaces, and falling. There are two types of falls that can occur: same-level falls and elevated falls. This program will mainly address same-level falls. Falls from elevations require specialized protection and training and will only be discussed briefly in this training program. Same-level falls occur more frequently and are primarily caused by slipping or tripping. A same-level fall usually results in less severe injuries than falls from elevations and are mostly back-related injuries, broken bones, sprains, or strains. Although elevated falls occur less frequently, they typically result in more severe injuries and in many cases have led to a fatality. Elevated falls can occur from ladders, stairs, buildings, docks, vehicles, or other structures. There are many hazards which lead to slips, trips, and falls. A slip occurs when you lose your footing due to walking surface conditions that limit the amount of traction between your shoes and the surface. Slips mainly happen due to wet or slippery surfaces. Surfaces can become wet and/or slippery from rain, snow, ice, oil, or spills. Loose flooring such as broken tiles, a worn mat, loose rugs, and the surface material itself such as a ceramic tile or smooth concrete can also cause one to slip. The slip hazard increases when inappropriate shoes or other footwear is worn. A trip occurs when you strike an object with your foot or leg that throws you off balance, causing you to fall. Trips can be caused by stepping downward unexpectedly. For example, not realizing there is a curb when walking and stepping off it could cause you to trip. There are many possible causes of trips. Inadequate lighting, or moving from lit areas to dark areas, or from dark to well-lit areas can be dangerous. Other trip hazards include obstructed pathways from tools, equipment, supplies, debris, cables, and/or cords. Walking surface conditions, which might involve uneven surfaces, potholes, temporary walkways, and cracks, can also lead to tripping. And finally, carrying large and/or heavy objects that obstruct your view or cause you to become off balance can cause a trip. A fall occurs when you are thrown off balance and you go from a standing or erect position suddenly and unexpectedly to a downward movement, or you drop from one level to a lower level. Slipping and tripping usually results in a fall. Other types of falls include falls from ladders and scaffolds. Misuse or inappropriate actions can be very dangerous when using ladders and scaffolds and usually lead to injury accidents. Getting in and out of equipment, trucks, and other vehicles always presents a fall hazard. Traction is generally low when stepping onto or off of the metal steps, tailgates, or other parts of such equipment. Riding on the outside of equipment and vehicles is also dangerous unless there is appropriate seating. Many companies prohibit riding on moving equipment. Moving up or down stairs can be hazardous, especially while carrying something. The potential for a fall accident is also greater when the stairs are wet or when clutter is stored on the steps or you are unable to use the handrails. Preventing slips, trips, and falls is an ongoing task. Every day you should look around and inspect your work environment for hazards or potential hazards. Be aware that the potential for hazards can change frequently, even during the workday. Employers and employees must be aware of their surroundings and take the necessary steps to minimize or eliminate hazards daily. Housekeeping is one of the most important aspects of preventing hazards. A messy work area leads to unnecessary hazards. Good housekeeping is the most basic step in preventing slip, trip, and fall accidents. Clean spills immediately. Delaying a cleanup potentially exposes many more people to the hazard. Use wet floor signs or barricade the area to identify wet areas. Never allow anyone to walk on a wet floor if possible. Remove debris and scrap frequently from work areas and place in designated locations. Keep walkways clear of materials, debris, and clutter. Always keep floors swept. Whenever possible, run cords, cables, and hoses overhead. Secure and cover cords, cables, and hoses that cover walkways. Lighting is important to maintain a safe workplace. Keep work areas well lit. OSHA has minimum standards for illumination that apply. If you see a burned out bulb, replace it or report it to your supervisor immediately so it can be replaced. Maintain appropriate lighting through the use of portable light stands if necessary. Do not allow the stands to become a tripping hazard. Move cautiously in minimally lit areas and when moving from well-lit to darker areas. Let your eyes adjust for a moment before moving. Wear dark glasses when working in direct sunlight, if practical. Stairways are always a tripping hazard. It is important to keep them free of materials and debris. Always walk slowly and use handrails when going up or down, taking one step at a time. Never carry a large item that obstructs your view of the stairs. Keep outside steps free of ice and snow. Ladders are another hazard that we take for granted. Never use a chair, box, table, or other objects not specifically made for standing on to reach elevated levels. Always use a properly designed ladder. Use only ladders meeting OSHA requirements and are appropriate and meet the weight requirements for the work being performed. Place ladders at a 4:1 ratio from the vertical support. For every 4 feet of working length, the ladder base should be 1 foot out from the top support. Always tie off a ladder and let the rungs extend at least 3 feet above the landing surface. Never use a metal ladder on or around electrical elements. Always use a wood or fiberglass ladder that has been designed for use near electricity. Maintain a 3-point contact with the ladder whenever climbing, descending, or working from a ladder. 1 hand and 2 feet, or 2 hands and 1 foot. Scaffolding is used frequently to access areas and as working platforms. Never take scaffolding for granted. Construct all scaffolds according to the manufacturer's instructions. If you don't understand something, ask your supervisor. Install guardrail systems along all open sides and ends of platforms as required by OSHA. Use appropriate fall protection for scaffolds more than 10 feet above a lower level. Use caution when working with tools and building materials on the limited space of a scaffold. Provide safe access to scaffold platforms. Never climb cross bracing as a means of access. Masonry scaffolds have different OSHA rules. Make sure you are properly trained on PPE and its use. Always use appropriate PPE and use it properly. Wear proper footwear for the work site. Watch where you are walking. Pay attention and do not allow yourself to be distracted from the task at hand. Never rush through a task. Work at a normal pace. If you don't understand, ask your supervisor. Carry fewer objects and make more trips. Get help moving large, heavy, or awkward-shaped items. Report all slip, trip, or fall accidents, even if no one was hurt. This will allow changes to be made to avoid the incident from reoccurring. By not reporting, someone might be injured if it happens again. Construction employees working at elevations of 6 feet or more, and all other employees working at elevations of 4 feet or more, must be protected from falling by a guardrail system, safety net system, or personal fall arrest system. This OSHA-mandated rule applies to ramps, runways, open-sided floors or platforms, and other working and walking surfaces. If you must walk on wet or slippery surfaces, there are certain precautions you can take to prevent slipping and falling. Take slow, small steps and point your feet slightly outward to help provide a stable base of support. Pay attention to the walking surface. Use handrails or stable objects for support when available. Your arms and hands help stabilize you when walking. Do not walk with your hands in your pockets. Avoid sharp turns and quick movements. Wear slip-resistant footwear. The purpose of this training program is to prevent falls, but should you fall, it is important to know how to fall to minimize injury. As you are falling, twist or roll your body to the side, tuck in your chin and turn your head. It is safer to land on your buttocks or side than your back. Keep your wrist, elbow, and knees bent and protect your head with your arm. Land on as much of your body as possible to spread the impact forces across a larger area. Do not attempt to soften or break the fall with your hands. Slips, trips, and falls continue to be a major problem in the workplace. Knowing the causes and steps to prevent slips, trips, and falls will make you a better worker and a safer one.